Right, this evening it's not automating other things from your Mac, it's actually automating your Mac. It will be fairly high level, so we're not getting really down into the weeds. We're going to have 10 small topics to talk about, and I'll pause for questions after each topic. But if I lose you on the way, please do interrupt me, but otherwise wait until the end of the little topic. So let me have a look at my, oh, sorry, I've got my notes out of order because I had a quick run through this morning just before we started. Right, the first question, why automate? Well, in a nutshell, productivity and efficiency. My definition is do more with less effort, and that suits me because basically I'm lazy. But with automation, you get repeatability and accuracy, and also speed because your Mac is quicker than you. I also enjoy automating and find it very rewarding. So let's get to it. Right, the first thing is we're all automators. In that, when we start our Macs or log into our Macs, we often have programs started automatically for us. One of the ways is by startup items, and you can exploit this. If you go to users and groups, that's your user, and you go to login items, you'll have a host of programs that get started automatically. Moom is an application that I've bought to control my screens, but they don't just have to be programs that come with the Mac or ones that you've bought. They can be your own programs. iCal Starter. Start is a little application where it's really just an instruction that starts my calendar, or at the start of the week is yesterday. And that was because I missed a dentist's appointment. I thought I mustn't have that again. It was because I displayed my calendar from Monday to Sunday. And I last looked at the calendar on a Sunday and I didn't see the following week. So sorry, I got muted there. Yeah, so that's why that's there. But it's not just applications. There are other things we can have. You can put a folder in there. Here's a folder. We'll drag it in. Now, by doing that, there it is. By doing that, when I next log into this Mac, this is a security program from Patrick Wardle, and it's an excellent bit of kit. It's called Block. I'll put his tools into the chat because he's such a good bloke and he does some excellent free security tools. I'll put that in the chat for you. I'll tell you how to get that out in a minute or two. So when I next log into my Mac, I'll be presented with that folder open for me. Well, it's got nothing in it, but that doesn't matter. What else can we put in there? We can put documents. So we can either drag documents in, or we can go the traditional route of desktop. And what we're going to put in here is my task list. That's my to-do list. Now, okay, I'll just open that up. So, oh, here we go again. Allow that. So that's a simple task list, and we'll be automating this application later on. So I'll just close that down. But it could be a script, such as Brett Terpstra has written a fantastic application called Bunches. I don't use it. It's a free application. It's really well documented, and it was demonstrated on the Naples group. And you can get that video. I'll put that into the chat so you can have a look at that later. But I say read the documentation before you watch the video because he goes a bit quick. So we can put folders, documents, and applications into the startup items. Now, apparently, and I'm not I don't have any network attached storage, but apparently network attached storage doesn't always come online when you log in. So you can drag, I haven't got any network attached storage, but I've got a USB stick here called recordings, and I'll just pull that in there. We'll get the pop up in a minute, and that volume will get mounted when I log in. So quite a few things there. Oh, I've got the pop up on the other window. So allow that. And that is the end of topic 1. Do we have any questions? Right, I take it that's a no. I'll go on. Right, if we think about our to-do list, well, perhaps we don't want to be nagged with our to-do list when we log in at the weekends. Maybe it's only a work thing. So there's another way of starting stuff, and that's with the calendar. I'll bring my calendar up. Here it is. And oh, sorry, my toolbar keeps moving. So here's my calendar, and as you see, it starts on Tuesday, which is yesterday. And we can generate new tasks. I'll generate a task in a minute to start my to-do list. I've got calendars for myself, stuff that affects the home, Josie, and events there, things that are not absolutely confirmed. And I've got one here for Automata. So if I click on that, I'll show that, we'll see these are the things that run automatically from the the calendar. Here we are, update the Norwich Mac user group website. That actually runs a script, but if we put in a new event, and we'll call it to do. The nitty-gritty of this is the alert. We change alert from none to custom. We don't want a message. We want to open a file. And we don't want to open a calendar file. We want to do other. Now, here again, we could have one of Brett Terpstra's scripts that will open half a dozen documents and open up Safari at a particular page. Or we can have a little app like my iCal starter one, which I'll show you how to generate a bit later. Or we can have my boring to-do list. So we'll do the to-do. So we'll select that, and we'll have it happening at the time of event. Okay. Right. So that's like just a normal. Let me just check the calendar event. So obviously we might want to do this every day. Let me just change my calendar preferences to look normal. We'll start the day on a Monday. Right, so to do, we'll say we want to start at 8 o'clock and 17 o'clock, and we might want to repeat that like every work day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, and we'll repeat that until open part there, and we'll end it to the end of next month. Now that's completely wrecked your calendar, but doesn't matter because it's in a separate calendar, and now it's all out the way, and we can just see other things. Now, of course, we could have put tonight's Zoom meeting in and had it pop up with the Zoom application. Maybe you'd have another app alert 10 minutes before with some notes you want to read before you come online. I don't do that because it's too intrusive. You know, you could be typing away and all of a sudden Zoom's suddenly up in front of you. So the way I do things is let's have a look at this one. I put all the details here and the link. So don't worry, Naples, if you're watching, this is gobbledygook. It's not, I'm not giving your link away. I put the link here. I don't use the URL field. I'll show you how I do that later. So why you use the URL field there is if there's a recording of this at Friends meeting, when I get the URL for that, I add the URL in there so that if I think, now there was a time Brad Clark, he showed me that, I can go back to my calendar and access the URL directly. And the same way I put the chat in here, and I'll show you how I do that. If you look at the bottom of your screen and you've got the tools on, you'll see there's a chat icon. If you click on that chat icon, up pops the this dialog where you'll see all the previous chats. But the important bit is the ellipses there. If you click on that ellipses, this little window comes up and you can click on Save Chat, which results in this temporary, that only comes up temporarily. Right, if you click on Show in Finder, up pops the save chat. So with that, we'll go back to the desktop, and I happen to have that file here. There it is. And I simply get the file, lift on that. Okay, that chat doesn't apply to that. We've got a little paper clip. I'll get rid of that. And now if we go into the calendar, we'll see this save meeting chat. I'll double click on that. Oh, it's nicely opened up on the other screen there. And there's all the chat from that meeting. The other thing I do on my calendars, I use emoji to identify them. The iMac signifies it's an online meeting. We've got little dogs here, so we don't have any canine conflicts with dogs that don't like each other coming on the same day. In the good old days, meetings that involved a meal would have a knife and fork so that Josie would know that my belly's going to be full and I won't need an evening meal. Right, I think that does that. Let me have a quick look at my notes. Right, yes, the other thing is, as I said, I put all the information here and I bring that up. So I just get a simple notification 10 minutes before the meeting that there's going to be a meeting. So I start Zoom and then I press a button and up pops this. And this is an automated script which gives me all the details, and I can just simply copy and paste the codes into the meeting. And these little emojis I put there by shortcuts, but we'll handle that in a minute or two. Is there any questions you have on that one? Oh, there's no reason other than this. Oh, right, so I'll continue then. So that's calendar. The next thing I've got on my list is text automation. And we'll go back to the system preferences again. Under keyboard, we've got text. And whether you knew it or not, there's some automatic shortcuts already there. So if you type 1/2, you will get the half symbol already, and this is already put in there. But here's something that Mike's probably going to be typing a lot. Suffolk Mac user group. He doesn't need to do that. He can save his fingers by adding a shortcut. Now, apparently good practice is to start a shortcut with a semicolon, because in English, nothing follows a semicolon, or other than the space. So if we put semicolon smug, and then say that relates to all that Mike needs to do is semicolon smug, and he's got it. Now we can do some other stuff here. If I've got a, let's put it up there. Why, I don't know. So if I just come in here, that just pops up automatically. And to accept it, I either click on the blue text or just put a space, and there it is, done. If I didn't want it, but I actually wanted semicolon Suffolk Mac user group, semicolon SMUG, I just click on the X there, and then I've got that. Right, now, if we want to do some of these special characters that Apple uses, like the escape key or the command key, there isn't a shortcut for that built in. So let me show you how to do that. Here's one I prepared earlier in Blue Peter style. So I'll just copy that. Oh, right, I want to do the, right, so I want to do semicolon CMD, tab across, paste in the symbol, hit enter, and there we are. So going back to my example, we can do the command for paste is semicolon CMD. Why hasn't that worked? Again, semicolon CMD. Well, that worked this morning. Let's try another one. We'll do semicolon ESC, and we will put the escape character in there. Oh, that's it. Oh, no, this comes. So let's try semicolon. Oh, look at that. The escape is the thing has come up. So ESC, and there it is. So space. I don't know what's happening, but yes, so we've got escape and command now in our thing. So that's what comes supplied with the with the Mac. It's good, but it's awfully limited. There are better solutions. So I just want to get rid of these before we go any further, and we'll go back there and save that there. Right, there are third-party apps available, and probably the best one that people know is Text Expander at a whopping $39.96, so nearly $40. It's very capable. It does lots of good stuff. There's a Windows and iOS version, and if you have them on multiple Macs and multiple Windows machines, they all synchronize. So if you put a shortcut on one device, it's available on all. But that $40 is per year. A far more affordable version is Typinator, which is equally as capable, but it is only Mac. And there have been cases of people having over 500,000 text replacements in Typinator. So it's a pretty robust product. And last week it was available for $4 on Bundle Hunt, but that's now finished. But do not fear, A text is here. And this also has a Windows component which syncs up, and it will sync between Macs. And you can use iCloud or Dropbox for that syncing, and it is very, very good. And this one I've been using since 2014, and it drops in at a $4.99. I paid $2.99 for it back in the day, but anyway, let me show you ATEX. Right. ATEX is normally started by my login items, but I didn't want to give it away. Right, let's show ATEX. ATEX comes with quite a few bits and pieces already built in. You can download some HTML stuff, JavaScript, autocorrection in various languages, and there's the Tidbits autocorrect dictionary of commonly misspelt words. So we'll just start some more up. So I'll put a new group, and we'll call this group, oops, yeah, smug just, and we want it available in all applications, but we want our things to be non-case sensitive. So we're going to ignore case. I won't bother with anything else. Right, and now we'll put a new, why have I got that there? Let's go back there, new, oh, this looks better, doesn't it? Right, so we'll do the smug thing again. So we call SMUG, and what we want is we've got that there. Now, when I started using this in 2014, I didn't know it was good practice to start off my shortcuts with a semicolon. So I had to come up with my own rule, and I put a plus. So I, it is this shortcut expand. So we've got the ability here for aliases. So instead of doing that, if my old muscle memory comes back in, I can do SMUG plus. Right, now when I go to my document here, I can do SMUG plus, or I can do semicolon SMUG. So very, very, very capable. I've got one here, Mac OS, which is another one that I've already written. So it alters the case for me. Let me have a look in my notes. We saw the dog on my calendar. I don't use the Control Command spacebar every time I want a dog. I just do dog plus, and we can add another one here. Let's add a new one, and we can have one semicolon EU. So I know I've got a EU flag in my frequently used. There we go. So go back to the command there, semicolon EU. Pop, we've got the flag. But there's more. You can do dates. I've got one YMD plus. That's the date, today's date, in the ISO 8601 format. I've got one set up, YMY, year, month, yesterday, and that's yesterday's date. So you can do date math, and I'll show you how to set that up. So we'll add a new shortcut and we'll call this one next week NW plus. But we better use the proper semicolon NW, haven't we? So we've got either way of doing it. So we want to insert a date. So insert a date, and in what format? Let's go the full. We'll go to that one for the full date. But we don't. We want it for next week, so we want to be plus 7 days. So there we go. Close. So now, so if we do semicolon new week, or next week rather, there we are. That's next week's date. So really, really powerful. And this is all for less than a £5. Here's another one I've got. If I type a bracket, unless I'm doing a sad face emoji, I always want a closing bracket. So this is ATEX has closed the bracket and moved the cursor one space back. So now, I've got it for square brackets. Now you'd think this would be most useful if I was using Excel, but it isn't. Excel takes the backward arrow as a move to the previous column. So if we look at my matching brackets list here, so they're my brackets. That means place the cursor here. Matching brackets, or it's enabled in all applications except, and if I click on that, it will show you that I have, where are we? Where's Excel? It's Microsoft. It's not available in Excel, so it doesn't screw me up. So this is very, very capable. I've also got my Apple symbols. Now, if you want to do this yourself in either the system preferences or in ATEX or whatever you want to spend your money on, I'll give you a link. And this link will give you more symbols than looking at the Apple documentation, because, for example, they don't have the shift lock symbols. So I think I've now covered everything. Oh, no, I haven't. That's one more thing to do. So I've shown you how to get all the symbols by typing shortcuts. There's another way to use it. If you go up to the ATEX, and we'll go down to, if you didn't know, I'm a bit of a water tower nut. And we've got some stuff here. I often refer to this document. There we go. So you can select text from the list that way. So yeah, that's ATEX in a nutshell. Do we have any questions in the chat? Only seems to be for Monterey. Yes. Yes and no. The version of ATEX I'm running here is version 2. Late last month, a new version came available, version 3. And I don't know how much it is. I think it's still $4.99. But you can download, if you look up the page, you can still download the old copy, the old version 2. So if you look at the, or have I given you the link for ATEX? I'll just do that. So we can have a look at that if we've got time at the end of the meeting. But I'm sure when I looked at the site, there was a link for older versions for Monterey, or prior to Monterey. So unless anybody's got any more questions on text text automation, I'll move on to shortcuts. Still in silence, that's good. Right, we're back in system preferences again. Next topic, shortcuts. Right. Has that come on? Yes, it has. Right, I hope you're all familiar with sort of Command V, Command C for copy and paste. Right, Command Q, etc. Right. We go to app shortcuts, and these are ones I've added. So if we go back to my to-do list, and I'll explain my to-do list. Here, if I've done task 1, I can mark it as complete. Task 2, perhaps I need to do that today. And task 3, well, that's not actually needed until tomorrow. So I can do act do, and go down to act do, open brackets, and put in a date. Now, okay, I've got tomorrow's date as a shortcut. But if I wanted to put in another date, and let's say I want to put in the date of the last working day of next week, next month rather, I can go to edit, yes, insert date, pop it across to May, Friday the 20th, no, Tuesday the 31st. There we go. So that will be assigned that date. So if I can look at what's happening today, I've only got task 2 to do. We can see that one's waiting to be done. So we'll leave it like that. Now, as I said, I'm lazy. It's a big fag going all the way over to edit, insert date. We can shorten that. The important thing is to look at that and remember exactly what is written there. It's insert with a capital I space, capital D, date, and ellipses. So if we go to add a shortcut, which is just click on that box there, and we want to apply this only to task paper, which is my to-do thing. The menu title, and this is where you must be absolutely spot on. And yes, you saw the little pop-up there. Ellipses is Alt semicolon. And the keyboard shortcut I'm going to assign is Command I. So add that. And so we've got it here. If we now go back to task paper, look under edit, and we will see here we've got the Command I there. So that's appeared. So I'm an inventive sort. You can guess what my next task is. And we'll have that one due at Christmas. So do, right. And now all I need to do is Command I, bomb, insert date. Don't know what all the other stuff was there for. Do I? Let me just escape from, right. Something I haven't done. Never mind, that'll work. So yes, so Command, forget, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but sorry about that. It's something I haven't undone. So I'll just do the Command I again, and that'll do all that. And then I can go through and put it on Christmas Day, 25th. No, January 25th, as we said, right, done. Right, so that's shortcuts. okay, this is specific to this one app, so perhaps not applicable to yourselves, but there must be other apps which you could similarly put a shortcut in. Now, here's one that you can use. Let's go back to our wonderful bit of documentation here. And let's say we want to print this. So we can go to File, Print. Oh, if you look, there's a Command P there. We could have used that. So if you do that, we can select PDF and save it as a PDF. But we won't bother with that. We'll cancel it. So again, if we just did Command P, up comes the same dialog, and we've got Save as PDF available to us. Command P has no function. We can't access it. It just doesn't do anything. So let's cancel out of that. Now, this isn't my shortcut. This is David Sparks's shortcut. We'll add a new shortcut. We don't want it for task paper. We want it for all applications. And if you remember what the dialogue said, it was save as with a small a, PDF, ellipses. From High Sierra onwards, they drop the ellipses. So if you implement this, you'll need to either put the ellipses there or not, depending on the level of your operating system. And the shortcut is Command P. We'll add that. And this will work in all applications other than task paper, because that Command P is show palettes. Anyway, right. So when we go, we can do Command P, Command P. Wow, how about that? Enter, and now we've got our wonderful document saved as a PDF. I'll give you a little link in the text, in the chat, and that's David Sparks demonstrating the Command P. So I think that hopefully will be useful to anybody. Do we have any problems, any questions? Well, I'll continue. We'll keep in the system preferences, and we'll go to hot corners. I put in hot. There's your hot corners. You can get to it from Mission Control or desktop if we just click on hot corners. So that's your desktop screensaver. We've got hot corners down here. What this enables you to do is assign actions to each corner. That's the list of actions. So normally nothing happens up here. I normally have Launchpad in that corner. If you do this, this will drive you nuts, because when you're playing around and your mouse accidentally goes up to that corner, that'll happen. And you'll get absolutely fed up with it. What they don't tell you is when you do that, you can hold a modifier key down, or multiple modifier keys down, and let go. I normally have it as Command, and I normally have that one. Command is put displays to sleep, and that one I normally have as Mission Control. And that one I normally have as, not dashboard, what is it? Notification center, that's the one. Okay, now I can move my cursor wherever I like and nothing happens. So I'm not driven to distraction. So that's quite a, let me minimize that. So that's hot corners. Are we all here? And any questions? Very quiet.
That's a very good tip for the corners.
Yeah, it saves you going mad. It will drive you nuts if you don't put the commands or control or whatever modifier. Right.
It doesn't matter which one.
No, whatever's natural to you, yourself. Right. Apple. Right. Let me delete shortcuts, hot corners. Right. Apple has for a long time, I think for as long as I've been aware, has been automating the Mac and has provided Apple script for you to automate the Mac. And this allegedly is what saved the company when it was in its dire days and was going to go bust, because print shops had become dependent on the Apple script automations. So they had to keep buying Macs rather than just abandon their beloved systems. So I'm just going to give you a very quick look at the interface. So let me just minimize that. So if I bring up, right, it's now Apple. It's now called Script Editor. It was Apple Script Editor. This lives in your Utilities folder within Applications. So we'll just launch it. The good thing about Apple Script is it's very English-like. You will understand it. Let me show you. Tell the Finder empty the trash and tell. Now, I would imagine most of you here can understand what this script is going to do. I'll give you a hint. There's some rubbish in my trash. Oh, sorry, my toolbar keeps moving about. The hammer there is a compile and checks the format. Oh, what have I done there? Empty the trash. What have I done wrong?
Empty trash.
Well, that should be all right. Empty. Let me just do
Good trash.
Empty trash. Let's try that one. No, there's something. Oh, I spelled empty wrong, haven't I? E-M-P.
Oh, that's right.
E-T-Y. The trash. Yeah. Oh God. What have I done? What have I cut? E-M-P-T-Y. E-M-P.
Quotes around trash, surely.
No, here we are. Here's one
You've got an extra E in the empty.
I have now.
I have now. Let me try that. No. What is going on? Tell. Oh, haha. Sorry, there. No, I don't want that. Right, let's try that. Hooray! Success. Tell Application Finder, empty the trash. Okay. Right. And if we run that, the trash has been emptied.
Whoops.
So that's great. So it's quite readable. But I could have put, I can get rid of the. And that still works. That would run okay. Oh, it's can't be completed because there's nothing in the trash. Let me duplicate that. I'll put that in the trash. Now if we run it. Right, so it's very it's very easy to read. It's not so easy to write, because if you look at an example, you won't know what bits are important and what bits aren't. I could have saved some grief here by simply right-clicking or control-clicking, and it brings up this menu, Tell Blocks, Tell Finder. So I could have then just typed in empty well, etc. I'll just give you one example. Now, in the startup items, we opened my to-do list, and that obviously would invoke the default application, which is task paper. But say that we are bizarre and we wanted it to be opened in a different application. For example, text edit in this case. I'll right click, tell application. The application is text edit. And now we're going to insert the action. Now, what can text edit do? If we go to File, Open Dictionary, there is a list of all the applications and the functions that are available to them. So if we go down to text edit, choose, this isn't very user friendly, but it shows you what there is there. You can just about make it out. So we've open an object. So well, that's what we'll do. Open. Oh, that's mine. That's a delete. Oh, here we go. Open. And what we want to open is our to-do list, and we can simply drag it in. So it's drag and drop, like you can drag things into the terminal. It does need to be in quotes, and we'll just check the font, and we'll run it. Running, it's thinking about it. It's still running. Ah, here we go. There is our, obviously it's not, we haven't got the crossed out line because it's text edit. We can see it's text edit up here. So yeah, that works. Right, so what's the point of this? The point is we can do File, Save, and we can save as an application. So I'm going to call this to do app. I'll save it on the desktop. Right, get rid of that. The great thing is now we can just double click on that. And here we go, to-do list is opened in text edit. So we could drag this to-do into our startup items when we're for our login startup items. Obviously, this is a rather silly example, but it just gives you the idea of what you can do. The takeaway from here is I'm not saying learn Apple script. I'm just saying is don't be afraid of Apple script. You can Google probably an Apple script and then modify it to your own desires. I did that recently. I've got a second monitor which I needed to use in portrait mode occasionally. And if you do that, if you twist it round and then try and use system preferences to change the orientation when it's already been rotated, it's a nightmare. So I've got a script that does that, and I Googled for it, and it's English. Let me just go back to Apple script to do task paper. Here we are. No, that's not it. Where's my Apple script? Examples. Oh, I was just going to say the my calendar, the iCal starter. That's an Apple script. It just does a defaults right. I Googled something, and that was back in my G4 days. So ages ago. So it does have its place. Oh, here we are. If I just, here's the open with script editor. It's gone to the screen. There it is. That's what it looks like. It is a bit gibberish. I had a quick Google, and I think this was the source of that, which I then modified. But it's not obvious, but you can work through it. Are there any questions on that particular, on Apple script? I can't see anything there, so I will continue. Let's get rid of that. Now, Apple script isn't that user-friendly. And Sal Seguin was Apple's Apple script guru, and he came up with something called Automata. It was introduced in 2005 with OS X 10.4 Tiger. It is likely to be replaced with the new shortcuts application. I'm not going to demonstrate that. Shortcuts is still a bit buggy in macOS 12.3, and Automata is still better for automating calendar and contact information. So I'll put a link to a 2-minute YouTube, which is an official Apple video on how to use shortcuts. So it just gives you a flavor. One of the things you can use Automata for is building services. Now here's our our masterpiece, example PDF. If I right click, control click on it, at the bottom we see services. These have been renamed after about 20 odd years as quick actions. But I'm just going to do a get info. And if we look here, we've got title example, pages 1. I didn't put my autograph on that. I really ought to have credit for this masterpiece. So I wrote this is my very first service that I wrote. So I'll get rid of that. And we'll bring up Automata. And we're going to create a service or quick action on more modern versions of macOS. The first thing we're going to do is say the service receives only PDF files, and it's going to receive them in Finder. The rest is all grayed out. Now, on this section of the over here, we've got a list of applications and what's available in those applications. So if we click on Automata, we've got those actions, calendar. DevonThink Pro is something that I've got installed, etc. But probably the best way to find things is just look at the entire library and search. So we'll put PDF. There is actually a PDF down here, but and if we look through this list, it says set PDF metadata. And there we are. So it's going to receive the PDF file, it's going to feed it in here, and it's going to present this. Well, to present this, I have learned that I had to tick this box here. It probably took me a load of Googling, but there we go. But this was my first service. So we'll do a file, save service as. Now, I like to use emoji. So here we go. Frequently used emoji, and I'll show you for why. We'll use that as a good emoji for this. So we've got the emoji. Edit. Oh, even edit would be better, wouldn't it? We'll save that as our workflow. There we go. So now, when we look at our example PDF, look at the services, we can see edit author. And the using the emoji does make it stand out from the crowd. So we'll click on that. Now, I don't use this quick action because I've got an application called PDF Expert, and it's got the same facility built in. Why it's shrunk it down, I've no idea. When I first wrote this in OS X 10.4 Tiger, it worked perfectly. Anyway, well, let's change the author to Ferrers. And of course, I've got F plus Ferrers. There we go. And we'll continue. And this time, when we go back and we look at the get info, we'll see. Oops, there's a Control A. We've got the word Ferrers as the author. So, okay, that was fairly trivial. Here's a real world. Let me just have a check on that side. Yep. A real world example. We've got a load of documents down the side here. We can select them all. We can right click and we can compress them into a zip file. What's in the zip file? Well, one way to find out is double click it. We've got and open the resulting file. Now this could be huge. You might not even have room on your disk to expand it. So we'll put that in the trash. So Owen asked on the Smug forum, how can I tell what's in a zip archive? And our Mark Ellis came to the rescue and he came up with a terminal command we could all issue. And I thought to myself, that would be great. That's just the sort of thing we could put into a service or shortcut. Not shortcut, quick action. But I could issue the command. I knew how to do that bit, but I couldn't get the output back onto the screen. But then we've got Paul Griffith. He came to the rescue and he gave us this following shortcut. And here it is with a few. Let me show you that. Let me go to the Automata. Here we go. I do File, Open Recent. Zooms. Zip list. I've renamed it zip list. There we are. Here's the command that, where are we? I can't even find it there. Anyway, this was the command. So it's got a, this is looking to see if zip list text exists. And that was the command unzip -L, etc. that Mark came up with. So now I'm just going to get rid of that. If we now go down to services, and you'll see my edit author isn't there because this isn't a PDF, so it isn't available. Zip list, if we click on that, as if by magic, we get a list of contents from that archive. So it's a wonderful thing. So that's a real world example. It did also remind me, is if we go in here, File, Open Recent, Today's Zoom. This is I've used Automata to get that Zoom list, which I showed you previously. That's how that's generated. Almost. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's where all the donkey work's done. Let me just check my notes so I don't forget anything. Example. Another thing Automata can do. Right, are we still in Automata? Automata. Why is it gone over here? Automata. This, oh, I see, it's gone over there. Folder actions. Okay, I'll do a very quick one here. We'll choose a folder action. Folder action receives files and folders added to choose folder. Other, we'll use this a folder, choose. Right, we're not going to do anything fancy. Normally, I think this is designed to do actions with the contents of this folder that we've just, or stuff we've just put in the folder. But what we're going to do is I want to display a message. So if I just put in here mess, there we go, and display. No, that's what I want. I want just to have a display. Now let's take mess out. Let's do display or notify. What have we got now? Display notification. There we go. That'll do wonderful. That's just what I want. And item added. And we'll just say an item was added at, and there's variables in here. So we'll just put in today's date. There was, I did find time, but I can't see it now, but current time. There we go, let's put that there. Current time, if I put my cursor and let's get rid of that, delete that. On, and then we can put today's date, and that will allow us to change the format, and we'll put it in the long format like that. Done. I'll just run this to show you what happens. What's, this is turned do not disturb. Let's turn that off. Right, there we go. Item added. An item was added at 2037 on Wednesday the 27th. Right. Close. Right. So we'll save that. File, save. I just call it added. Fine. So here we go. We'll put the archive in the folder. And there we get the message. Now, what's the purpose of all this? Well, this folder could be in iCloud. This folder could be on Dropbox. So you could be anywhere in the world and put an item in that folder and then trigger an action on your Mac back at home. And that action could look at the contents of that folder to determine what it is exactly you want to happen back at home. So that's the purpose. That's what I think is good about folder actions. If you want to do stuff manipulating items that you add to a folder, there is a product called Hazel. I have no real use for it, but there was a fantastic demo on Naples Mac Friends. So I'll put a link to that video there, along with the link. Something else I should have told you. When we do the services or quick actions here, these they go in the list where they go. There is a product that you can use to take it to the next level called Service Station, and that gives you editing abilities to modify that list. And I'll put that link into the chat. Right, today's Zoom. Right, and our final Automata action, another real world case. Now, we might have a load of drives attached to our Macs, which we use for backups, and they might be for they might be the old spinning hard disks. So every time you open the save dialog, you hear these disks start up. Perhaps you don't want them mounted. You really want them offline, except for when you physically bring them back online. So the last Automata action is we'll have a new Automata, new, and this will be an application. One thing, if we go to Automata, one of the things the Automata can do is it can run a shell script. A shell script basically is commands that you would issue in the terminal. So we've got a drive recordings mounted here. So we can do disk util there we go. And if I run that, okay, we should see that recordings drop off. Oh, it's still running. Now, I'm not, oh, there it's gone off the desktop. I'm not a Unix bod. So where did I get that command from? Well, you can Google it. And I don't suggest you run any terminal commands that you Google willy-nilly. What I do suggest is that you check them out. And I know there's things called the man pages, which will give you a definition. I find this a lot better. This website, so you Google, you find your Unix command to issue, and then you check it out on ss64.com. You should be able to work out if the command is safe or not. You can always post it to the Suffolk Mac user group, and I'm sure people would say either don't run that or yeah, that looks cool to me.
Did you know Monica died?
And the
Julia this afternoon.
the worst that can happen is you can wipe your disk, but you've all got your disks backed up, haven't you? Anyway, let's go back to this. I'm just going to change that to a mount command. Run it again. Okay. So that's back. So I'll put the unmount there, and we'll do file, save, and we'll save it as an application, and we'll and that's now on the desktop. So again, we can put that in our list of login applications that we run when we log in. So I'll just double click it, and there it goes. Obviously, if I run it again, or the disk wasn't mounted, double click it, and we get this error, and we just OK it. Yes, we could make it a lot more complicated and say, was this disk online in the first place? But that's getting down into the weeds, and I think you've had enough. So, any questions, or have you died? Oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong screen. I've got to get over here. Then I do that. Right, so hopefully that hasn't blown your brains out. Onto hardware, because my definition is just do more with less. This is what I'm using. Back in 2009, I was looking for a wireless keyboard, and I found the Logitech S530, and it's fantastic. Unfortunately, it's no longer available. It's got loads of extra keys down the side for launching applications or scripts. All these are configurable. The mouse has got these wonderful thumb buttons here, and I've assigned them, rather they come as standard with forward and back, and I've assigned copy and paste. And if I'm operating a Mac without copy and paste thumb buttons, I feel like a caveman. It's awful. If you look here, we've got a help key, and that's what I use to trigger my Zoom meetings with. Unfortunately, it's no longer available, so I've been keeping an eye open on the mouse market to see what I would replace this with should my beloved mouse die. And that's my choice. Unfortunately, it's about £80 now. What would I do for all the extra keys? I'll put a link to that if you're interested. Oh, I can't do that at the moment. I'll do it when we go back. As for all the extra keys, there's this fantastic device. This is the Elgato Stream Deck. This is the big one. This one costs about £230. There are smaller versions, but why would you want a smaller version? All these buttons are completely user configurable. They can be updated in real time. They can be assigned to do anything. If you look at this one here, it's displaying a percentage. So that's likely being updated in real time to show the percentage of the hard drive is being used or something similar. Obviously, I don't know, but it's not only an input device, it's an output device. And I just can't wait to get one. So that's my next foray into automation. So let me just do that and escape back. Better just have a quick, well, I'll pop the link. Actually, another link here. This is a link for help with Automata and Apple Script. This is Sal Sagoin's page. Oh, I bought this a couple of weeks ago. I take it that's the mouse. That's Sal Sagoin's. Google is your friend, but have a look at Sal Sagoin's website for automation. And here's the Logitech link on Amazon. Right, we're nearly home. Nearly time for bed. The next bit of automation is pop clip, and I'll just enable it. I get my masterpiece up. Here we are. It's my masterpiece. There it is. Pop clip. If I highlight something, here we go. Suffolk. Oh, I'm going to hide. Why can't I? Suffolk. I get this come up. This will look up the word Suffolk on the web. Cut, copy, paste. Well, I think that's fairly obvious. Look it up in the dictionary. What is Suffolk? Well, they got that right. What else can we do? Suffolk. This will look it up in DevonThink. So it'll launch DevonThink. And there we go. We'll have a quick look in there. And it's done a search on. So I'll just quit that. So PopClip was sold as bringing the iOS pop-up menu to the Mac. It is far more than that. I've been using it since 2012 when it cost £2.99. Now it's £12.99, but I'd still buy it. It's wonderful. It saved me so much time. What other things have we got here? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So we'll just highlight some words. This is a good one. Large type. So if that was a password and you need to know the 3rd, the 7th, and the 9th character, that's a great help to old eyes. What comes applied? Where there's pop clip. If I look at him, I just do that. These ones at the top: open link, search, cut, copy, paste, reveal in Finder, use address, and dictionary. They come as standard. The rest I have added. And I'll show you how to do that. It's simply clicking on that plus button. That launches the web browser. And here we have 200 extensions for you to add. There is loads. You'll find something. Oh, I haven't popped something. Let me put those extensions into the chat before I forget. Well, that's gone in that. Right. So the one I'm looking for word count. There's word. There we are, word count. So you simply click on that, save as, word count, or save to the desktop, because we're untidy like that. Right, so here we are. Where's word count? There it is, word count. Simply double click on it, and there it is. Simple as that. We'll click on that. We'll move that right up to as the first action. Done. Right, so now we'll highlight some characters, and we can see we've highlighted 15 words. And isn't that incredible? You know, it's so easy. Easier than Apple script. Final one, because I'm a water tower enthusiast, there's a water tower at Pie Green. I'm always doing searches for water towers or Googling it. So I simply highlight it, click on this, and that expands it to putting quotes around here and putting the word water tower in quotes. Unsurprisingly, that wasn't available off the internet. You can write your own extensions. It's a bit fiddly, but it can be done. So pop clip is absolutely fantastic. Do I have any pop clip questions? We've got time for a slip. Right, let me just. The big one. Why don't I use Automata and Apple script tons? Because I use something better. And that something better is Keyboard Maestro. Keyboard Maestro is fantastic. It's been running all the automation in the background. Let me show you. Where's my masterpiece again? I've lost it. Now, a common problem with a lot of websites is for some reason they don't let you paste passwords in. I don't understand why. I've got a little script that I'll just copy that, copy, and bring it down here. And I won't paste because I'm not allowed to paste it. I'm doing control squiggly thing, and that has actually written it. You might have noticed a text is being disabled. I've programmed it to do that because if we had open brackets, closed brackets, it would get itself all doubled up and cause a problem. That's quite a small one. A text is brilliant with dates. but I like to put the date suffix on. ATEX can't do that. So I've got one called DMY plus, because I'm an idiot. And that has written the date complete with the correct suffix. It does first, thirds, and things like that. Okay, with the latest versions of macOS, we've got live text. I've got live text on El Capitan. Command Shift 6. Why is that gone like that? Command Shift 6 gives me crosshairs. I'm going to catch that. Oh, it hasn't done a very good job there, has it? Let's get rid of that. Let's try this bit up here. Command Shift 6. There we are, example RFT. And that's been copied to the clipboard. And now I can just write that to the clipboard. All this is done in Keyboard Maestro. One thing I omitted to tell you is in System Preferences. Got this. If you go to here, this is how you configure your keyboard, and you can assign keystrokes or applications to each of the various keys on the Logitech keyboard. So you want to go back to check. No, we want to close that. And on the mouse, configure. We've got various bits and pieces. So the left button, if we look at that, is a click. If I look at that, now how do I show what that is? That's click. The thumb buttons, you can see that's Command C, Command V, as I told you before. The wheel button, if you press the wheel button, that's mission control. These are global settings. I've got different settings for Affinity Photo. If we look at the thumb buttons, that's now a square bracket, and the forward button is the other square bracket. So I can zoom the paintbrush or the dodge tool or whatever in Affinity Photo by just pressing the forward and back buttons on the mouse. I've also got one for task paper. And for task paper, the wheel button is Command I. And I'll show you where I use that. Well, we know how we use Command I in task paper. So we'll get that down. I'm going to open up Keyboard Maestro, launch Keyboard Maestro Editor. It's a bit like Automata. It's very much drag and drop. We can add an action and drag an action in. Oh, alert, there we go. We add that there like that. But we'll just get rid of that. But this is, let me get rid of that. This is my do script, which I should have disabled before I started, but it got triggered accidentally. So basically, it is triggered by the Command I hotkey. So Keyboard Maestro grabs that key sequence before anything else gets to it. It pastes at Command Do in brackets. It then simulates the left arrow keystroke, so putting the cursor between the two brackets. And then it simulates pressing Command I, which triggers the shortcut which we built earlier for task paper. So here we go. To do the open up task paper, we'll put a fifth task in. And I'm going to raise my mouse. I hope you can see it. I'm going to press the button there. And with that, the insert date is, so I'll choose a date next month. Hit the enter key. And there we are. So one key press. And I think that confirms I really am lazy. Right. So this keyboard Maestro is absolutely fantastic. I've been using it since 2016. It costs £34, but it does come with a month's trial. This isn't a talk in itself. This is a whole series of talks. David Sparks has done a field guide, and it starts, and there's a free 18-minute video introduction, and I really recommend you watching that. It is a very worthwhile guide. So I've just put a link to that in the chat. And so finally, some inspiration. Now, with automation, you have to invest time up front before you reap the rewards. So I could leave you all with something to dwell on, such as but I won't. Instead, I'll turn to XKCD, because you'll likely find that automation is addictive, like me. So I've actually automated the remainder of my presentation. And so I'll leave it to XKCD to sum it all up. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, thank you, Ferrers.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Thank you. It's very good. Thank you.
Just for your entertainment, I'll put that cartoon into the chat as well. So don't forget to save the chat.
Well done.
Oh,
What-
yeah. Save the chat.
Excellent talk, Ferrers. Very informative.
Good.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, as I say, it's only software.
Yeah, it's only software, yes. Right, I've stunned them into silence.
It's only software, but the last piece you gave is spot on,
Yes.
absolutely right. That's exactly how it works.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I've been doing it for years and it's still that way.
Excellent. Very good.
It's astonishing how many things, if I think about it, I do and I struggle with them and think I must find a way to fix that. So thank you.
It's really good. Helpful.
But I would say download a copy of Keyboard Maestro and play with it. It is wonderful. It's addictive.
Oh,
And the help is unbelievable. Unlike Apple Script or Automata, if you click on the cogwheel on any of the actions, it will link you to a wiki, and there will be a full description of that command and how to use it. If you get stuck, the forum is phenomenal. You think that Suffolk Mac User Group forum is helpful. These boys go really bend over backwards to help newbies, and I've seen reams of code being written for fellow members there. It's really a really friendly place. So yeah, go for it. And there's links to the forum in the chat. So do save that. I'll just save that for myself as well, because you all know how to do it. Save chat. Yeah.
First, can I ask you something not Automata?
Of course.
You had Affinity Photo. Do you use it quite a lot?
Yes, well, not for amending my own photos, because I'm a bit of a water tower addict. I use it for restoring a whole bunch of old photographs that people have taken and I've scanned in, and all the color has been distorted, and so I'm using Mike's tutorial to restore those. Also, I use Britain from Above, and I download photographs from that site, and some of those have become very distorted, so I use that for tarting those up. Yeah, so I'm not a huge user because I'm not a photographer. I don't know what I'm doing. I just do what Mike told me to.
Yeah, his tutorial on that was superb. All those lessons are very good.
Well, yeah, because I don't know what I'm doing, but I can do what he tells me.
Yeah. Right, thanks.
But the thumb buttons for the you know, the in painting tool or the paintbrush, you know, that's made a big help.
Very good.
Well, thank you very much from darkest Somerset.
Oh, you're welcome, wherever you are.
Okay. Bye.
I think I got away with it.
Definitely.
Better than that, yeah.
Good timing as well.
Yeah, not bad.
Thank you so much, Ferrers. Bye-bye now. Cheerio.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Cheers, Liz.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Liz.
Thanks, Ferrers.
Yeah, thanks again, Ferrers. Bye.
Okay,
Cheers
cheers.
all.
Right, I'm going to say goodnight, and don't forget about the AGM next month,
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
which should be the usual barrel of laughs.
Right. Okay. Then I'm going off to bed.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ferrers.
And
Yeah,
well, thank you, Paul. You know, for all those hours you put in, helping me through it. You know,
Yeah, no, it all went very well. Thank you.
it wouldn't have been as half as slick without that run through. Just I hadn't disabled that keyboard maestro, but yeah, keyboard maestro
You found one.
yeah. So a glitch did get through. I'll just open up Keyboard Maestro, and it just tells me about Keyboard Maestro. It reckons the amount of time it has saved me is 79 days.
Wow.
Obviously, some of that is me running macros to try them out in the testing phase. So that's logged in there. But yeah, I use it so heavily. Some of the macros I've run so many times. My first macro that I wrote, or real macro that I wrote, has cut down a thing I do every week, which typically took me 5 minutes, and it now takes me probably 30 seconds. That probably took me 4 or 5 hours initially because I was new to the thing, but as I say, I've been using it since 2016, so that's 50 times, how many years, you know, 6 years, 50 times 60, you know, times 5 minutes. So that's, I got my money back on that one. So yeah, so some, you know, 50 days, I should think, is quite, and so, sometimes you think, oh, that's being a bit optimistic, it's saving me that much time. But there's other automations that I know have saved me an awful lot more time than it claims, and that's why I don't use the Bunches app, because I can do everything in Keyboard Maestro. You know, it's otherwise you're spreading your knowledge so thinly over so many applications. So, and it can run shell scripts. It can run Apple script. Basically, there's not hardly anything it can't do. So, and the talk in the automation world is shortcuts won't replace it. You know, I'm sure that the keyboard Maestro new version will be able to use shortcuts, and also it can interface directly with the Elgato Stream Deck, so it can update the buttons in real time.
Wow.
Oh, it's fantastic. Anyway,
So
I'm going to bed.
Yes.
Ferrers,
Yes.
when do you publish your book of Water Towers of the World?
If you're interested, we
Well,
have
you've got-
copies. There we are. Water Towers of Britain, not by
Oh.
me. That's by Dr. Barry Barton. But yeah, we've got copies of that book for you.
Well, no, I'm interested for you. I mean, you obviously do a lot of work on that, don't you?
I do a great deal of work on water towers.
Yeah,
I've researched about 2,000 in the UK.
right. Well done.
So I'm a true anorak.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, folks, I'll love
Okay.
you and leave you.
Yeah.
Well done,
Nice,
Ferrers.
Ferrers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Brilliant.
Good night, all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good night to you.
Bye now.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right. So I close the meeting down and
Yeah.
thank everyone for
Yeah.
coming and look forward to seeing you at the end of May.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay then.
Thanks for that,
Right.
Paul.
Bye.
Bye.